Alright, I'm back with another Roguetech guide. This time we're going to be going over ballistic weapons. And before I start, as I said in my energy weapon video, I do intend to make this spreadsheet available in the near future. So just stand by and I'll get that to you in a timely manner. So, with the exception of the Goss Rifle, all ballistic weapons have a variety of ammunition types to choose from. This versatility is one thing that puts it above energy weapons. The other thing is crits. So, if you remember, the through armor crit chance of energy weapons was low. Well, as you can see, the through armor crit chance of ballistic weapons is quite high. So, we've got a variety of Goss and railguns that have above a above a 1.0 for the through armor crit chance, which I believe means that they're capable of critting multiple times per shot, as compared to just one crit per shot. So at 3.5, I believe, if I understand correctly, that means the snub-nosed railgun with a single shot can crit 4 components. And the through armor crit value is 1,350. So essentially, unless you're in a super heavy, a snub-nosed railgun can crit you through your armor. Also, if you're using hardened armor, that's the only other thing. But even aside from the heavy Goss rifles, regular Goss rifles, and the AC-20, like you see, very high crit chance, very high through armor crit armor values. So with autocannons and Goss rifles, you're able to punch through armor and get crits. Like, the ballistic weapons are by far the best crit-seeking weapons in the game. On the topic of crits, we do have to talk about machine guns. So, machine guns, they do almost no damage. Like, if you have them firing ×6, heavy machine guns can do a little bit of damage, but for the most part, machine guns aren't there to do damage. For the most part, they're there to crit. Because as you see at the crit bonus here, most machine guns have at least a 50% crit bonus. Some of them have a 400 or a 450% crit bonus. Now, the through armor crit armor values, as you see here, are very low. So for machine guns to be effective to get crits, you do have to open the mech up. But if you manage to open the armor of the mech, machine guns are the best weapons in the game for critting components and tearing up internals. So, with machine guns out of the way, because that's really all there is to it. Low heat, low range, low damage, but they crit. They crit really well. And they are also pretty good if you put incendiary rounds in them. The ×6 nature of machine guns lets you get a lot of individual one heat ticks that can overheat mechs pretty quickly, but mostly they're there just for crits. Artillery and mortars are great for area of effect. Most of their ammunition types are for splash damage, for area of effect, heat damage, area of effect acid to boost the damage of other people's shots. But you do have to be careful with positioning when you're using a lot of artillery and mortars and things, so you don't take a ton of friendly fire. Every weapon that has a flak mode, the flak mode, as far as I can tell, every single weapon that has a flak mode, that flak mode ignores evasion completely, but it has some kind of an accuracy penalty. So if it's a big Atlas barely moving or standing still and shooting, flak is actually just objectively worse than indirect fire to hit. But if it's a quick little light mech or something with essentially more than one evasion, if it has more than one evasion, Flak Mode is going to get more of an accuracy bonus from ignoring the evasion than it does the accuracy penalty. Most of these artillery weapons that have a direct fire mode, the direct fire mode also, and I have it here, evasion ignore 15. So these weapons here, the direct fire and flak of the long tom and sniper artillery and thumper artillery, they ignore evasion completely. So if you're firing direct or flak with any of those weapons, again, if they have 2 evasion or more, you're actually getting an accuracy bonus compared to indirect fire. That being said, yeah, so that's basically artillery and mortars in a nutshell. Great for long distance, AoE, big burst damage, or if you do have, I believe there are certain ammo types for each one that is just single target pinpoint damage. They do have the longest ranges of the game, artillery and mortars. So, yeah, here's mortars. Well, no, mortars are about the same range as LRMs and things, but artillery has the longest ranges of the game. So, just keep in mind whenever you're using them, be careful with your positioning because you don't want that long tom shot to accidentally take out your own mech. Then we have autocannons. So autocannons are heavy and deal moderate damage for their tonnage, but they have a very low heat buildup. So if I go over to the heat here, you'll see 8, 5, 12, 6. Like, most autocannons are absolutely ridiculously low, except for the AC-20s. The AC-20s, again, 100 damage per shot. So even though, you know, well, I think the 40 is the pirate, no, the Imperator rapid fire. So yeah, that's firing twice. The Imperator firing twice is 40 heat. So that's 20 heat per shot. And that is for a 100 damage pinpoint attack or more. So with the exception of AC-20s, autocannons are very low heat. And with the very low heat, you're able to not worry too much about heat sinking as compared to energy weapons. But they are heavy. They definitely are heavy, starting at the AC-2 with 6 tons for a 25 damage attack. I mean, that's literally 6 times the weight of a medium laser for the same damage. Yeah, it's got a longer range, but it doesn't build up that much less heat. I mean, it builds up like half the heat, but you also have to have ammo, so it's actually 7 tons for the same damage as a medium laser. But that's just the AC-2. In my opinion, AC-5 is where it starts getting more reasonable. 45 damage pinpoint for 8 tons. But yeah, if you want to really push up the damage, then you go to the Ultra Autocannons, which are basically just autocannons that fire twice. So kind of like the Imperator. The Imperator autocannons have a rapid fire mode where you can fire twice. And the Ultra Autocannons also can fire twice. And that literally doubles the damage. But you'll see the heat buildup is not that much more. I mean, yeah, you've got the Ultra Autocannon 20, again, 20 heat per shot. You got the Ultra Autocannon 10. You got 10 or less heat per shot. Like, they are very low heat weapons that do a lot of pinpoint damage. The only thing is that they are heavy. So, the thing to keep in mind with Ultra Autocannons is they do have a jam chance when they're firing in their 2x2 mode. They do tend to have more recoil than their regular autocannons. But it's very easy to offset those penalties with gunnery and recoil reduction and things. So once you have the mech or mech warrior or both set up for it, Ultra Autocannons are just objectively better than regular autocannons. Now, Rotary Autocannons which, yeah, I didn't even classify them as autocannon, rotary, because they're just their own beast. These things can fire up to 6 shots per round, so that is a lot of potential damage. But they have incredibly high recoil and a high jam chance. So even though they have the highest damage potential of, I think, any single weapon system in the game, you do have to build the mech warrior, or both, very carefully to be able to make really good use of them. And if you are going to be running rotary autocannons, always keep your eye on the ammo count, because yeah, if you're firing 6 shots per round, you'll run out of ammo pretty fast. Sometimes it'll be better, especially if you've got a target that only needs a couple more hits to take down, dropping the number of shots down a little bit to save ammo and potentially improve your hit chance a little bit. Now, LBX autocannons, here, the thing that really sets them apart from standard autocannons is, well, one, their range is longer. So, for example, let's just go Autocannon 20 here. Max range 360. Then the LBX Autocannon 20, right here, has a 480 max range. In addition to that, the LBX autocannons have cluster ammunition, which gives them better accuracy and higher damage potential, but the damage is scattered across multiple locations instead of just pinpoint to one. And finally, Goss Rifles. They have high pinpoint damage at really long range while generating next to no heat. Like, most of them are under 10. So, one downside to the Goss Rifles is that, unlike regular ballistic weapons where the ammo can explode, but if the weapon gets crit, it's just destroyed, if the Goss Rifle gets crit, it can explode for a lot of damage. And the ammo itself is actually safe and inert and can't explode. But you'll see the Goss Rifles have very high crit chance, through armor crit chance, and through armor crit values. They're just really, really good at punching through armor. So AP Goss Rifles are anti-personnel Goss Rifles. They're kind of Goss Rifles in name only. They do low damage, it's scattered, it's just short range. It's not very Goss Rifle like. It's an anti-personnel Goss Rifle instead of anti-mech, so you get what you expect. But even it has better crit chance, through armor crit chance, than the Hyper Assault Goss Rifles. Now, the Hyper Assault Goss Rifles can crit through more armor, 60 armor instead of 24, but they have a lower chance, and they do not have the 50% crit bonus. But other than critting, I mean, yeah, Hyper Assault Goss Rifles and AP Goss Rifles are just, they're AoE scatter shots instead of pinpoint. Hyper Assault 40 Clan, 200 damage at long range. So, like, they still do considerable damage. It's just the AP and Hyper Assault Goss Rifles, the shots scatter instead of being pinpoint. Now, as far as accuracy goes, unlike energy weapons where it's easy to just say pulse lasers are accurate, they give an accuracy bonus and they give evasion ignore. Here we have the Mydron Pirate, Blackwell M7, and the Heavy Silver Bullet Goss. Silver Bullet Goss, like, it's a weird assortment of things that have an accuracy bonus. But the light machine guns all have an accuracy bonus, which, again, they're really only good for crits, but, I mean, accuracy bonus is an accuracy bonus. Again, per ton, energy weapons generally do better damage, have higher damage potential per ton. But per single weapon system, ballistic weapons definitely have the highest damage potential. So if you have a mech with, say, 3 hard points, a ballistic weapon is probably going to get you more damage from that hard point than an energy weapon or a missile weapon. Now, missile weapons, some of them do have considerable damage output, but ballistic weapons are going to be definitely more pinpoint, and missile weapons are just going to be super splashy. So that's about all I got for ballistic weapons. So, all right, till next time.